I'm live with Becky from the Teach Better team, who just hosted Mastery Chat tonight. And don't forget, Mastery Chat happens every single Thursday at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. We always have an amazing host. And Becky, you killed it. Can I just tell you that you killed it?
Well, I appreciate that. I honestly, it was just a topic, as I, kind of mentioned in Twitter when I was promoting it all day, is it's really a topic that is near and dear to my heart because I am living this every day. So
Absolutely.
I felt it needed to be talked about.
Yeah, I totally understand. So I want to get into the chat, the topic, all the things. But as people slowly start to come into our live video and join us for this recap that we're able to do every single time Mastery Chat ends, we move from Twitter and then do kind of like this recap of the chat, which is so fun. You've been live a ton for the team, but for whatever reason, if somebody's missed it, what do you do for the Teach Better team?
What do I do for the Teach Better
You
team?
do everything for the Teach Better team. Let me just answer it for you.
I am very involved with social media for the Teach Better team. So, the irony is I'm usually kind of behind the scenes on the Mastery Chat, and I'm kind of monitoring it on behalf of the team. So this time we had Ashley fill in for me for that role while I was hosting, but. Usually I'm the face of the Teach Better team on Twitter during the Mastery Chat. So I've done a lot with Mastery Chat, and I've done a lot with the Facebook group, and I'm kind of slowly working my way into Instagram too. So.
Well, I love that. And not only all that support that you provide, but you also have been going live so much for our daily drop-ins and everything else. You've been such a source of positivity and great reflection information. So I'm so thrilled that you hosted Mastery Chat.
Thank you. Yeah, I did it back in January with Jared Hamilton. That was my first one that I was hosting. And I think both of us felt better because we were doing it with somebody else. And now I've kind of, spread my wings a little, and I'm like, you know what, I can do this by myself. So I love it. Who's on with me in the daily drop-in. And yes, that was the irony, was I happened to just schedule this and not even realize it, but I scheduled myself this morning for the daily drop-in when I was on with Phil Strunk, and then I'm like, so, everybody's going to be, Adam Kato said, I'm beginning my day with Mrs. Thal, and I am ending my day with Mrs. Thal.
Love it. I love it. I think it's great. Tell us a little bit about your topic. What was it? Why did you choose it for tonight's conversation over on Twitter?
Yeah, so I'm a fifth grade math and science teacher in New Jersey, and I have 3 children of my own. And, very, early on, it became very much a juggling act, trying to balance my responsibilities between, meeting the needs of my students and my responsibilities for school, and then trying to help them at the same time. So, and then I was looking on Twitter, and I was seeing that other people were kind of sharing the same sentiment, and on Facebook and everywhere. And I thought, this is really a topic that needs, to be addressed. And so I wrote a blog post about it first. And I got a lot of great responses from that. Even people from my own district were really complimenting me this. And everybody's like, yes, this is exactly how I feel. This is exactly what's going on. And, and then, when I did the Twitter chat, I did want to be conscientious of the fact that, you don't have to be a teacher, obviously, to be working in education. So anyone who works in education and has some kind of family, because your definition of family, it could be a spouse, it could be a partner, it could be, you have other relatives that are living with you. It doesn't have to be kids. It's family. You have pets. I mean, they need to be walked. They need to be, loved and cared for too. So, the definition of family is pretty broad, and I wanted people to understand that it wasn't just about people with children.
No, and I think that the way that you pose the questions really open the doors for any type of educator, whether they're living alone or they have animals or they have 12 children at home, or they were living with their grandparents. I mean, there was so much variety, and it was just focused on people getting through in the best way possible, which I loved, because no matter where you were coming from, no matter what your perspective was during this chat, you not only had something that you could add and contribute, but also something that you could kind of take in for food for thought, tips and tricks moving forward.
It was pretty easy for me to come up with the questions, but I did go back and look at them, and I tried to be very conscientious of how I was wording them. because I didn't want it, like I said, to be just about teachers or just about people that have kids, because everybody's experiencing a lot of the same things, no matter where you're coming from.
No, you're 1,000% right. I know a lot of people are commenting right now just that you made them feel like they were less on an island because it was nice to show these other people were going through, kind of the emotional roller coaster that we all are on right now. Was there any questions that you asked that you were either surprised by the answers, or at the time you were really excited to see what the answers would be?
The one I was most, excited for, honestly, was the last question, which was, if you could tell, if you have children, if you could tell your children's teachers something, what would you tell them? And what I really liked is that a lot of people who don't have children kind of turned it around and said, okay, well, I don't have children, but this is what I would tell my students' parents. And I liked that they were able to do that and craft the question to work for them. And I was really happy to see that a lot of people were chiming in and saying, that some of their concerns really had to do with the fact that they can't see their parents who are elderly, or have health concerns, and that's really bothering them. I think one of the biggest underlying themes was the anxiety that people are feeling in general. I mean, it's not even necessarily related to one particular thing. Like, yes, it might involve school or what the future is going to look like of school, but it could also be just about how it's going to affect you and your living situation.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of the answers that were being shared out, I think during your second or third question, we're all focused on like what's challenging right now. I had posted a tweet saying it's challenging that, yes, it's so wonderful to be with family, but I actually miss, everybody that's still family that's not in the immediate family, right? The family we're not living with, not being able to see them. And I think that further emphasizes that people, they're trying to make the best of a situation, but there's absolutely strain. And some of the strain has nothing to do with school. And then others absolutely do, just with the management of it all. So you definitely got a lot of responses there.
And I think what a lot of people, what kind of everybody talked about was that it is a roller coaster, and I have to get better with posting my GIFs, but it really is. It's a roller coaster, and it changes day to day. And sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to it. I was having a conversation. So I actually went into school today. This day was particularly busy for me. I mean, busier than usual. And I did go into school to clean out my classroom for the summer. And it was actually nice. I saw some other teachers there. There's only a few of us allowed in the building at one time, and it was just nice to have that and to see faces behind masks, but to see faces and to just chat a little bit. And I had a long conversation with my principal, and he's coming at it from a different perspective because he's a principal of a building now. Right. But we were talking about he has 3 kids that are just about my kids' ages, and he said, oh my gosh, the grocery bills. And I'm like, yes, the grocery bills. So, you're kind of connecting, with different things like that, like little things like that, which, what normally might not have ever been a conversation between us, which is like, is your grocery bill high?
Yes. No, completely. I actually did the exact same thing. I went in and cleaned out my classroom today. And while it was nice to be in the building, I was just telling Jeff Gargis this, it felt a little eerie, like that. It was just a little like strange being in the building, but you're right that, there's just a lot of people that you kind of have some like side conversations with. You're like, on a normal day, we'd never be talking about our grocery bill, but why not?
Well, and it was very surreal. I mean, that was the best, description of it. I mean, but I posted on Facebook. I said the flip side was the school has never been cleaner at this time of the year. Like usually this time of the year, schools look, it's just, they look weathered. They've been used all year. The floors were nicely waxed. Everything is spotless. So that was a little strange in and of itself, just walking into that. I mean, and I still had, which, I think that's the thing. When you first walk in, it's like frozen in time. So you walk in and I still had like some leftover Valentine's stuff up and St. Patrick's stuff. And the calendar was literally like frozen in time. And it's just, like, that's just eerie.
It's very weird. Yeah, absolutely. I actually had a different experience when I walked in. My amazing custodial staff that I work with had actually cleaned up a bunch of my room in a very generous way. I mean, like, I'm not complaining, but the majority of things were moved. The majority of things were put away. I kind of felt like I walked in expecting to see what I had left. And I kind of walked in being like, oh, it's like there's so much that has changed, which is kind of, that's kind of what life is right now. A lot's changed. So I'm very appreciative. They saved me a lot of time that I would have had to do, but it was very eerie experience. And I think that was echoed, going back to the Twitter chat, that stress and confusion was very much echoed in this chat. Was there any threads that you saw specifically, because people get such deep into conversation, that you felt like if somebody was watching our recap right now, like, ooh, go check out this because there was some really good stuff shared there?
I got to be honest, I have to go back. I did see some good stuff, and I tried to retweet some things. So if people even go onto my page, they can see some of the things that I retweeted that I was like, yes, this super like resonates with me. But there was definitely a lot of interesting conversations, and I think that also one of the things is like I'm in week 8 of this, and different people are different places, and different people also still have different amounts of time to go. So I know you're wrapping up, soon. We had this conversation earlier this week. I'm going till the end of June. A lot of people around me are going till the end of June. And so but it doesn't really matter, because you can't say that you are used to this. Nobody is actually used to this.
Yeah.
And you can't expect that. You can't expect that from yourself, and you can't expect that from the students. I will say that one of the things that, I really liked was people saying, you've got to give yourself grace. And I referenced that, when I was on with Peaceful and Joseph on the Daily Drop-In last week, like that's one of her key takeaways. And it is so true, but sometimes you need that permission from somebody else. Like you need somebody else to tell you it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Completely. And I have to say, I loved this chat. You did an amazing job, but it was so nice to just have those little reminders that I didn't know I needed. It was kind of like I had seen the questions before. I'm like, oh, this will be such an easy chat. We'll just all kind of come together. And truly everyone came together. There were so many new people to follow. I do want to give a shout out. Anybody who joined for the first time, like, holy moly, so glad that you were there.
Yes, 100%.
Following people constantly, the whole chat being like, oh, you're brand new, welcome. So I love that this little Mastery Chat family continues to grow, because again, people that maybe needed that message and it was their first time in Mastery Chat really were able to take away like, oh, this is a really good, supportive, positive group here as a family.
I 100% agree. And I even said to you, I'm like, this moves so fast that I really do have to go back, because I feel like I was literally glued to my computer. I was glued to TweetDeck, and I was like, I couldn't keep up. So I really need to go back and just kind of like acknowledge, because I know a lot of people had a lot of great, I think there was obviously, I did catch the hashtag Team Ray versus hashtag Team Jeff. I saw that was going on. So that of course made me chuckle.
It's funny because last week in Mastery Chat, I had a meeting. I had a board meeting, emergency board meeting. So I couldn't be in Mastery Chat. I had missed it. And when I went to Twitter later on, I was tagged in this massive thread where they were picking on me, Becky. They were picking on Ray. It was a thread of picking on Ray. Suzanne Daly came to my rescue. And so when I was in the chat today, they started it again, but I was there this time. So there was a good battle from Teach Better Talk of, Team Jeff and Team Ray. You guys know we've sold more Team Ray t-shirts on our teachbetter.com swag site. So I don't care what anyone says. I will always argue that nobody should be Team Jeff, but just like Adam's saying, it really should be Team Becky more than anything else.
Thank you, Adam. I know, like I said, I had to laugh when he posted that. He goes, well, we begin our day with Becky and we end our day with Becky. And
I love it.
Yeah, that is how it went today. But I said, I'll give him the day off tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, Becky, you have truly started our whole family's day and ended it between the Daily Drop-In this morning and now. So we're gonna pop off here and maybe give you a few minutes of sanity before you start your day again tomorrow. I do want to give a shout out to something brand new. I know that we have already been talking about this free teacher webinar series that we have going on, where we're in the second week right now, and we have the Q&A tomorrow on the grid method, and then we still have 4 more weeks of free content. So if you guys are interested, you can register for that at teachbetter.com/webinar series. But we just released today that we are doing a grid method training webinar throughout the month of June that will have a similar format where we're do some training on building and truly constructing a grid. You should end the whole webinar with a grid that's student ready. And then at the end of the week, so I think we're doing Tuesday, Thursday. So like on Tuesday, you'll get the training. And on Thursday, there'll be a deep dive into like Q&A, pulling up examples, really utilizing this group. And I was really excited that had all come together and we announced that. So if someone like that's interested, we get a lot of people always asking how they get grid method training. And while we do try and provide a ton in our private Facebook group, it just doesn't always have this deep dive that people want. And unfortunately, up until now, the deep dive was only something you could get if the district hired us to come in and really provide that. It was the only way that we kind of had that infrastructure. And now the webinar is going to provide that. So I'm really excited for hopefully our network that can get some benefit from that.
Me too. I know a lot of people have posted that since going to remote learning, those that have been kind of using the grid method have really found the transition overall so much easier. So I think that's why a lot of people now are even more interested than they were before.
Yeah, no, it's really great. So I do want to appreciate everybody that came live with us now. Becky, you're getting a lot of fabulous shout outs. I know Jeff Kaplan's here, Adam, Joe, Brian, Shay. It's so good to see everybody.
Happy anniversary, Jeff Kaplan. I see he says it's his anniversary tonight. So you get the night off, Jeff. Yes.
So fun. Well, we will see everybody tomorrow in the Daily Drop-In where Chad is going live with Kim Strobel, I think. So that will be really fun. Awesome. And hopefully we continue to just share the positivity. Go take a break, everybody, and have a.
I appreciate everybody for coming on.
Yes. Becky, thank you again for all that you do.
Thank you very much. Bye.
See ya.